Good evening. My name is Ruth Stone. I'm a fitness and wellness ambassador for sweatband.com, and I've been invited on their behalf to do this sequence or series of mindful movement sessions with the fabulous Fit&Well.com. Today's class, the comments are going to be turned off so you can see what's happening, but it will be uploaded to IGTV and also to the YouTube channel, which you can find all the details of on Insta and on Fit&Well.com. So if you want to look at them again, of course you can, and I would welcome any comments to the recorded versions of today's classes. So I'm doing a sequence of a series of 4 classes. The working title is Mindful Movement, and it's all about how you can bring mindfulness into your physical practice. I'm going to use a lot of yoga today to demonstrate it, but the same principles can be applied to any physical activity, from strength training to walking to HIIT, and it's all about being present, being in the moment, and pulling in 4 little elements together to bring that presence back. Lots of studies show we have wandering minds. I think we all know that we do. But 47% of the time, the typical human being is thinking about one thing while doing another. And today we're going to try and really focus in on what we're going to do. So the 4 elements are the breath, whether you're breathing in, whether you're breathing out, whether your breath is in, whether your breath is out for those little pauses. The body, whether it's moving or still. I mean, it's never completely still, but still as opposed to conscious moving. The brain, the mind, the mental focus, and sometimes that's about your intention and sometimes it's about paying attention. And then the gaze, where are we looking? Where does the eye meet the sky, the horizon? Or when our eyes are closed, our third eye, and where we can look internally to get that benefit, that mindful benefit in our movement. So I'm going to talk you through some very simple sequences. Today's focus is on mobility. So this is just about moving your body and making those connections with the body, the breath, the brain and the eye gaze. But don't push yourself too hard. Just enjoy the movements and see how they feel and experiment with them a little bit. So to begin to warm up, we're going to come into mountain posture, which, whether you're familiar with yoga or not, I think will be familiar to most people. Get some good roots beneath your feet by making sure your toes are wide, and plant and push the pads of the toes into the ground. Draw up and in through your thighs, roll back and down through your shoulders, and try and hover your head high. Take note of the breath by placing your little finger on your hip bone and your thumb towards the ribs, and just breathe. And if you feel balanced and happy to do so, close your eyes and continue to breathe, and just be aware of how the breath affects the body. Most obviously and apparently in the abdominal region, as it expands as the breath enters and compresses as the breath leaves, but additionally and subtly elsewhere in the body, particularly the lower back. That should lengthen a little on an in-breath and relax a little as you exhale. Let's begin to move. As you inhale, can you reach both hands high and look up to them? Can you hold your right wrist with your left hand? As you exhale, take a little lean and a little look down to the left, so your right side lengthens. See if you can stretch that right side more by adding length to your left arm. As you exhale, bend down and round and just hang heavy with your hands and your head like a rag doll. And then on an in-breath, come up beyond your neutral spine position to a slight back bend, so you're lifting and leaning upwards and backwards. And then as you exhale, realign the spine and let the arms fall. Repeat that the other way. So on an in-breath, we lift, we hold our left wrist. On an out-breath, we lean, we lengthen the left side. On an in-breath, we grow our right arm and stretch a little longer. And then as we exhale, we'll roll round, relax and hang heavy. On an in-breath, lengthen and lift upwards and backwards with your head and your hands. And as you exhale, realign the spine and let the arms come down. Repeat that a couple more times in each direction. So think about your breath. We're accompanying the breath and the movement. We're coordinating them together. So every time we inhale, we open, we elevate, we elongate. Every time we exhale, we relax, we release. So in-breaths about space increasing. Out-breaths about tensions releasing. So just enjoy this simple movement from one place to another and continue to coordinate your breath, your movement, and use your gaze. So look at the hands once they're high and follow them as they lean. Follow them as the arm lengthens and look down and round ahead of them as the body falls. And just be aware of the space around you as well as the space you're starting to create in your body. One last time, holding your left wrist. Let's see if we can mobilize a little bit more, lengthen a little bit further. Bend, roll and fold and be a little bit heavier at the bottom. And then rise, open and lift and be a bit longer to the back. Take a couple of breaths as you exhale and stand tall. Reset your mountain. Make sure you haven't lost that heaviness beneath your feet, that tension within your thighs, that expansion across the chest. See if those things come a little easier now. As we become more mobile, any yoga posture becomes easier to assume, to hold, and also to develop and make better. And just see where the thumbs land in relation to the ribs, as we did at the outset, and continue to breathe. And hopefully that movement forwards and backwards of the belly is a little less apparent, because in that simple sequence we've created space in our spine and should be feeling that our posture has improved and we're standing a little bit taller and a little bit stronger. We're going to continue with the standing sequence, and now we're going to bring our hands together in prayer. The more pressure you have hand to hand and the narrower the space between the elbows, the more you engage the muscles in the torso. Dip your chin and focus your gaze on your fingertips. And just apply pressure between every paired finger and the heels of the hands. And be aware of how much work is required to achieve this and how easily and naturally the elbows narrow in this position. On an in-breath, straighten the arms upwards, look upwards. And as you exhale, push the palms down and look down, ready to reconnect the gaze with the hands as they rise. So a simple start, just lifting and lowering the hands and the gaze together. And again, breathing in on that upward expansive extension and breathing out on the release and the fall. The next time we come down with the hands, we're going to bend the knees as well. The first time you bend your knees, just make that movement relatively small. But as you get more confidence and more control, go lower into your legs and then longer into your lift. And see how that affects your body and your breath. Of course, we're getting warmer, and as we get warmer, we create more space, we move more freely. Again, getting ourselves nice and mobile. And really do use the gaze here. The body will work much harder if you focus visually on what you're doing, either directly at your own hands, or if you're ever back in a studio doing a class, looking into the mirror. The next time the hands are high, just stay there. And as you exhale, pull the hands down. See if you can again apply that pressure between your paired fingers and the heels of the hands, and see if the elbows just tuck in a little bit more. Hopefully they do, and that's an indication that the shoulders have released. Let the arms go, place the palms facing forwards, and do the opposite with them. So we lift them up when they're together, and we draw them down. Sorry, lift them up when they're apart, draw them down when they're together. Inhale as you look up, and exhale as you fall. Feel that expansion through the side of the body on your lift, and that tension in the torso when the hands are connected. And see if you can develop that by giving the eyes of the elbows a really good stretch on the way up, and pressure between the fingers and the heels of the hands on the way down. Again, we're going to add a bend of the knees on the down phase. Make sure, as before, you stay within a comfortable range. See if you're strong and supple and able. Go low in those legs and bow forward with the body. If that's more challenging for you, a little knee flexion will do. We're going to blend another element to this. We're going to rotate. So as you come down, turn to the right. And as you come up, lift to the center. So begin turning, but keeping your head centered. Be aware of how that feels to the back of the body and the side of the torso. Of course, the head is attached to the spine, so when we turn it, we get more twist. So do that a few times, but then see if you can take your twist further by taking the eyes beyond that turn. So look up to the left when you turn, twist to the left, and look up to the right when you twist to the right. And see how you feel, and see if you do get a little bit more release and rotation, more mobilization, simply by taking your gaze a little bit beyond your initial physical constraints. And so that makes you able to advance how far round you go. The next time we're down and twisted to the right, we're going to remain in that position. Continue to breathe in and look up. Continue to breathe out and look around, and see if you can settle your left arm on your right thigh. This is a really good twist, and what we want to make sure is we retain symmetry through our legs, our hips, our knees and our ankles. So what we often tend to do is let the left knee come forward. So bolt the knees together, push the toes down and look to the right. Now you can get more twist in the torso if you consciously connect your top hand with your bottom one. So push against it and turn, and then again look up and see if once the head turns, there's a ripple effect through the spine and the rotation is greater than it was before. Slowly come center. Inhale, bring the hands up, and as you exhale, twist to the left. Repeat that once more to the right. Breathe in, breathe out. And then the next time you're rotated to the right, again, just land that right arm, load those 10 toes and look to the left. And then push your top hand into the bottom one, turn your gaze and see if the remainder of the back releases and rotates. And make sure this time that the right knee hasn't crept ahead of the left one. Come center and one more lift, one more lower. Breathe in, breathe out, and stay standing tall. Place again your fingertips to your hips, your thumbs towards your ribs. Push your toes down, relax your shoulders back, and float your crown high. And just focus on your own horizon here. Whatever's in front of you, wherever you are, just have a soft focus in the gaze. And begin to breathe and see if the breath may have sped up a little bit. And in its speed, become a little shallower. So just be aware of that. But hopefully again, the movement forwards and back of the belly is less pronounced than it was before. When we meditate, people often encourage us to close our eyes. So if you feel balanced, close your eyes. If you're not so good at balancing, just take your feet a little bit wider so you've got a more stable base. And just let the eyelids be heavy for a moment or two. And scan your body from your heels to your head. Observe where there is space and where there is work. And just feel that belly move. And as the breath recovers, if it's started to be a bit more energized, it should release and relax. And again, you should feel more space through the spine, more capacity for the breath, a deeper, fuller breath. Take a few blinks as you open your eyes, and then we're going to come down to all fours. Again, nice familiar sequence. We're going to do cat-cow sequence. We start in table, and table is self-explanatory really. The heels of the hands should sit beneath the shoulders, the knees should land beneath the hips, and the spine should be in neutral, so the crown looks forward, the face looks down, and the tip of the tail looks back. Just observe your body here. Notice if the knees are heavier than the hands, if one side is heavier than the other. We should have equal weight distribution here, but very few of us are completely equal, and we may find that certain landing points are heavier than others. Moving through cat stretch should alter that. So the belly dips as the air comes in and the tail and the crown rise. And then the belly lifts as the air leaves and the tail and the chin tuck under. So you take air in as you lift the head and the tail. You release air out as you tuck them in and under. And just be aware of how fully and how freely the back moves. Once again, we're going to use our gaze. So look beyond the eyebrows when the head is high, and look under to the incoming abdominals as the head is low. And see if just adding that visual focus to this simple movement starts to enable you to move a little further. Hopefully it does. So continue with the breath, continue with the movement, but additionally think about your connections and see if you can make more of that heaviness in your hands and your knees. Push into the hands, push into the knees, create roots beneath them from which you are able to rise. And that too should generate more space, more capacity for the breath and for the back. So continue with this, one more lift, one more lower of the head. And then on the next in-breath, arrive again in your table position and see if the weight distribution has become more even. The space between the crown and the tail may have elongated a little. And if you check whether your knees are still beneath your hips and your hands are still beneath your shoulders, you may need to lift and replace those landing points to accommodate the new space in the spine. So again, the mobility is better. Give the back a little break by bringing the knees apart, bringing the big toes together and bringing the seat back. Walk the hands forward if you're comfortable. Walk the hands back if that's preferable. And just let your head land on the mat. So this is a passive pose. And we just let gravity take our weight here for a while. And we attend on the breath again. So close your eyes here and breathe into the belly. You've got a bit of compression between the front of the body and the front of the legs. So where we once felt the breath with the hands, we should now feel it with the legs. And you should get an expansive feeling in your lower back as the air enters and a released feeling in the lower back as it leaves. Now see if you can encourage that melt down into the floor. Just allow your shoulders to go, your head to be heavy, your tailbone to sink a little lower. Then relax the body and see if having done that has created a bit of capacity in the spine so you're more comfortable with your head further forward because your body is longer and lower. Just check in with that. From here, slowly and steadily return the hands back or forwards depending on where they were. Push yourself up to all fours and take a seat. We're going to work on hip mobility now, using the same principles and seeing if we can get more space in the hips. If, like me, you sit at a desk and cross your legs a lot, you'll find you've got lots of tension and little mobility in that hip structure, and it's certainly an area I suffer with. Let's see how happy the hips are. So begin by bringing the feet together, sole to sole, and the sit bone down on the ground. So you want your sit bones to be your feet now, and you want to sit tall above them. If you're flexible, you can rock the sit bones and gradually walk them forwards, but make sure in doing so you're not collapsing and curving the back. You're staying long and staying lifted. Give your hands around the feet and just take a little bounce and just observe how freely and how fully those legs move. Just be aware. So you may feel additionally a little stretch in your lower back. It's all good. We're going to come into lazy pose from here, but we're going to consciously connect in lazy pose, so it won't be too lazy. We'll set up the lazy version first. Your easiest option, if you can, is just to simply cross your right leg in front of your left. But if that's tough for you, or easy for you, bring your right leg on top into a half lotus position. So we're going to lean to our right. Be wary of curving and collapsing your right side. You want to be straight and lean, so you get the maximum weight traveling head to hand, elbow to knee. And if you can, push that elbow onto the knee and push the head into the hand, just a fraction, then do. And see how that impacts on both hips, but the right in particular. Be wary as you lean of your connection now beneath your left sit bone. It's very easy to rock off that sit bone, but keep it rooted. And as you push back into the left root, you should lean further to the right and get more space in both hips. As you take air in, sit nice and tall and take a breath. Unravel your legs and return to your butterfly position. See if your feet connect more happily, see if your knees fall out more widely, and see if additionally you can rock those sit bones forward. Having done all of these things, again hold the feet and bounce the knees, and see if you're enjoying a bit more space and movement out of your hips, and a bit of length and liberation in your lower back. Hopefully at least one of the two applies. We're going to take that lazy pose on the other side. So again, choose your option. Either cross your left foot in front or land your left foot on your right leg, and make sure those sit bones are rooted and your torso is tall and remains so. So don't curve, lift, lengthen and lean now to the left. And just let your head naturally succumb to gravity, and then additionally apply a little pressure, elbow to knee and head to hand, and see if that application of pressure gives you more stretch and release on the inside edges of both legs. And at the same time, be wary of any lightening or lifting around your right sit bone. Root it to the floor, and as you root, you rise. Connection with the floor is very important in yoga. As you take air in, come up, sit tall, and see if your butterfly posture is better in terms of how happily the feet connect, how widely and low the knees go, and how far forward you can then bring the seat. Play with all those things, and when you're happy, you're at your best position. Connect the hands with the feet, lift the crown to the sky, and again bounce those knees and just bring your awareness to how the back and the legs feel, how freely and fully they move. And I think visually you'll have seen there's quite a difference in my own hips with that simple sequence. We're going to work on a sequence to strengthen the back now. So we're going to roll over and lie down. Position your feet a hip distance apart. Bring your seat nice and close to the heels, and then lie your body down. We're going to go into a bridge pose, which involves pushing the feet into the floor, pushing the shoulders into the floor, and lifting the hips to the ceiling above. If you've got weakness, you can support your body by bringing your hands beneath it, but try and maximize the load into your feet and your shoulders and minimize the rest you require on your back. And just see how high the hips go, how connected the feet and the shoulders are, and how close your fingertips are to your heels. As you exhale, roll yourself down, relax, and then on an in-breath, just take the hands up and down. So when they're above, the knuckles land. When they're by the side, the palms land. When the hands move up, you breathe in. And when the hands come back, you breathe out. Look straight up to the ceiling and just watch your hands as they pass you. And just be aware of how fully the back of the hands begin to connect with this repetition. Hopefully, as you repeat, a greater portion of the back of the hands from the knuckles downwards will find the floor. The next time the hands are landed by the side, see if you can push higher up into your hips and lower down into your shoulders, and see if that position has improved. And again, see how close your hands can go to the heels, and hopefully they can come a bit closer. And see how much you need support if you need to take it. And hopefully when you do lift the hands, you should be aware that they're a little higher than they were before, because the back has acquired a bit more space. Bring the hands down if they're up, bring the back down having done so, and bring the feet off the floor. Think about the connections in your lower back. Bring the knees together and the hands to the knees, and just draw a figure of 8 with the knees. Try and keep the knees connected as you do this. This will keep your figure of 8 pretty small, but be aware of how the position of the knees corresponds with the connection of the back there on the mat beneath you. Just see how big your figure of 8 is first time around, and see how connected the back is first time around. Then land the feet on the floor and take your arms to a wide wing position. So we're again thinking about our connections, and our connections are evidence of the space we have in the body. So here, the back of the hands, the elbows, and the shoulders should be comfortably connected with the floor. We're going to lean the two knees over to the left and turn the gaze to the right. It always helps, I think, to lift and turn and focus on your right thumb. Let's draw our attention back to the breath here. In a twisted position, you create capacity in some parts of the torso and compression in others. So when the legs are over to the left, the space should be enjoyed on the right side of the torso and the compression on the left. So just allow your breath to occupy that space on the right, and as it does, it will grow your right side, and in this position you will also decompress your lower back. While here, return your attention to how well distributed the weight is along that wingspan, and see if there's been a shift between your shoulders, your elbows, and your hands on each side. As you take air in, come center and land the feet on the floor, and again just assess how wide the wings sit and how comfortably the backs of the arms connect with the floor. Prepare to go the other way, bringing the knees together, keeping them together as you lean the legs now to the right and lift and turn your gaze to the left, and focus your gaze on that left thumb and just let your legs be heavy, and then bring your attention to your breath and create space on the long left side as you do so. Slowly come back to center and again assess where the spine feels longer, the shoulders feel lower. And see if you have more movement in the back by repeating that figure of 8 motion. So knees rise and connect, hands find the legs, and again, just figure of 8, keeping the knees together, and see if your body allows a bit more movement, a bigger motion. And again, that's a sign that you've created more mobility to the back of the body. Well done. Return the feet to the floor, take a breath. And we're going to finish with a relaxation, but we're going to bring those principles into our relaxation. So we're going to land the hands palms up, and we're going to land the feet toes out. And we're going to be long and lazy through our limbs. Lift and land your head, and think we often call it a living yoga, the neck as well. So make sure you've got space, hip to heel, shoulder to hand, but also through the neck to the head, and you're comfortably connected on the flat part of the head behind you. And then close your eyes. So now we're going to wake up the internal gaze. First and foremost, thinking about the body. Visualize it as a little sandwich. The bottom layer of bread connected with the floor, the upper layer connected with the air above, and everything in between moving between your top and bottom layer, growing wider, longer, enjoying more space, and as it does so, enjoying more connection beneath and more expansion above. And then see if you can direct your internal gaze to your third eye region, that point above and between your two eyes. This is a really good technique to use whenever you're needing a bit of concentration or needing to switch off from a mind that's too busy. And everyone's response to this is different, and every time you do it you may experience a different response, but universally you will enjoy a sense of calm, a sense of focus, and a feeling of contentment. We're going to wake ourselves up steadily and slowly, first by giving the toes and the fingers a wriggle, then by bending the legs and lifting them as before, holding them as before, and keeping your eyes closed this time as you perform that figure of 8 motion. Prepare to come to sitting. If you can rock up. If you need to roll over and push up, then do. And sit however is comfortable for you, crossing your legs, lengthening your legs, whatever works. Make sure the sit bones are grounded and the torso is tall, and bring your hands to prayer and nuzzle your thumbs into your heart center. Tuck your chin to your chest and then just begin to blink so the fingertips come into focus. And then keep those periods for which the eyes are open a little longer until you keep them open and the blinks are no longer a controlled element. They're just happening naturally. As you take air in, eyes forward, hands down. We're all done for this week. Next week I'll be applying the same principles to strength, so I hope to see you then, and I would welcome any comments. If you want to replay or revisit it, this video will be on fitandwell.com, on IGTV and on YouTube. I look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste.